can push it down in there a little bit. All right, so what we got going on here? So we have Brussels sprouts here, bush green beans coming up here. There's spinach in the front, some marigolds in the middle. This is all spinach that you can see here. There's some little baby tiny lettuces hopefully coming up. I see like one right there.
Oh, it's so teeny tiny.
One right there. So
It's so small.
hopefully those will sprout up and we'll just have some cut and come again lettuce in there. A couple different varieties. And I just planted black beans in these last 2 rows here. And that's just there because it's pretty. And nothing's in that last row behind the Brussels sprouts quite yet. So I'll figure out something to put in there. Black-eyed Susan, dill, and sage. Then here you can see bush green beans coming up in here. Planted those, I guess, last week or the week before last or so. And there's supposed to be a Kajari melon, I think, here where that little pink tag is, but it should have been up by now. So I'm guessing I may have to replace my seeds because a lot of stuff that I planted didn't come up when it comes to like my flowers and things. And even, like I said, the Kajari melon. And I think it's because last summer our air conditioner broke, and so it was very hot in our house, and I think it might have affected our seeds because I'm seeing a common theme with some of my older seeds, which sucks. But I think that's what happened. So we'll see. And onion bulbs here. This was my walking onions that I received from a friend, but we did not get to garden last year. And so this bed looks like I guess I lost all my walking onions. I have one that sprouted up that was still here, and it's over there in the corner. So hopefully that one will replenish my walking onions. But for now, I went ahead and planted onion bulbs in here, so at least I'll have onions, and you can see they're sticking up and doing pretty well. But I'm hoping that my walking onion will replenish itself by us being more, out here in the garden this year. And if not, if anyone has walking onions and wants to send me like maybe 2 or 3 or something, I would not mind. Yeah. Piece of an onion skin. Then here is a 4x4 bed that has peppers and tomatoes and bush green beans and parsley and basil and marigolds, of course, because there's always marigolds in everything. And that's pretty much, oh, and some chives are also in there. That's in there as well. So that's what's going on in that one. And I do have on both sides, this one is so beautiful. It's been there for now, I guess probably this is the 3rd year that I've had this clematis here. And so you see she grows up there. She does pretty well. And I got this one this year, and so I put one on the side as well. I had one, it seems like it got burnt from something or something. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but hopefully it'll take hold and do well. We'll see. So that's what's in this 4x4 bed. There are some, I guess maybe wild onions. I'm not sure because I don't remember planting onions in here. Maybe I planted a few, but I had these 3 that came up, and so I left them there because it's good companions. But I will say, like I was saying with my seeds or being like really weird. So my tomatoes that you see in here were all grown from seed, and they are very tiny little plants. I don't know what is up with this. So you can see that one there. There's another one like right there that's a little bit taller. You can see there's 2 there. Those are the same one, and that's because the one in the front was planted first and it just was so puny, and it's a little purplish, meaning it might be a lack of phosphorus. So I did give it some more fertilizer, and we'll see what happens. But I did have a second plant, again small, but it wasn't giving the purple situation, so I just put that one out here and we'll see which one takes off better, and I'll get rid of the other one. So we'll see. But all my peppers are topped off, so you can see they are branching out and doing a little bit better. And most of those I actually got from the local nursery, which again, like I'm saying, most of my seeds did not do well. I got very few that did well. The ones that I have from seed are in the back garden, and so all these ones here are from the nursery. So I don't know what's up with that. All my beans seem to be sprouting fine. Just my other stuff. Tomatoes and peppers that for some reason, and my melon, it's just like not doing well. And let's see, so these are the 2 beds. We are trying to do corn again. It's been some years. What was that?
Corn.
What did you just do though? So we tried corn in the back garden. So we have tried corn in the back garden a few different times, at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. And each time we got corn, it was all fertilized, all the, silks were done. And then all of a sudden we came back from camping each time and the corn was all ripped down. So I gave up. So here we are trying it again, but we're trying it this time in the front garden, which has a different fencing system. In the back garden is just the whole yard is fenced in. But this is where this garden itself has its own fencing. So if it could have been a raccoon, we think maybe, we're not sure, but we're gonna try it again. I do have a pole in the middle this time, 1 pole in the middle, and once it gets taller, I will wrap some string or twine or whatever around the entire bed of all the corn so that it all stays together with those poles that you see. But it is Silver Queen white corn, so hopefully it does well. This is the 3 Sisters method, something new I'm also trying. So it has the green beans growing up around the corn, which you can see those there, and then it has vining squash that are planted in each corner, well, of 3 of the corners. And so there's one here, and I did yellow crooked neck squash for that because you want one that's vining. So it does good for ground cover, and so hopefully that will take care of that, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get some corn this year and it doesn't get eaten up by something else. And so again, you can see the green beans are down in there. There's the squash on 3 of the corners. I see a weed back there with that marigold, so I'll pick that in a moment. There's some more squash over there. So hopefully it does well. And our usual peppermint bed is here, and it's lush, doing well. Like your socks, Ben? So that's those things. And then let's see, so over here we have 2 of our bags of potatoes. There's one variety in the green bag and another variety in the black bag. And this one has 2 layers of potatoes. So I started it with about 1/3 of the bag with soil, put the seed potatoes in. Once the greens came up, I let them get a little tall. Then I put another layer in, and the second set of potato seed starts, and here they are growing up over this. So once they get a little bit higher, I will go ahead and top this one off with mulch and let it do its thing. And we'll do the same thing with this one. You can see they're starting to come up over the soil, and once they're high enough, I will put just some mulch on them and let them just grow up and live a happy life. I just harvested, which is what this is, this big pile here, some bee balm because it was really tall. And I figured I'd leave the back side a little bit since it's on the fence. And I'll let that dry out. There's also some lavender in there and yarrow. And in the white pot is the jasmine plant that's always, or tree or bush or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure, I forget. But that's been there for some years, and it came back because it had knocked over. Again, last year we did not have the garden. I was out of commission last spring and didn't get to do any of this. Back here is just some pretty things and some good stuff for pollination. So we have zinnias and cosmos and coneflowers and nasturtiums and more of that jasmine because it vines out, and so I had a root that came out, and so I planted it in here, and it has taken off. So you can see this up onto the fence is more of that beautiful white starred jasmine, and it smells so good. Two of the green stalk towers that are in the front garden are strawberries. There are a couple of herbs in here as well. Some dill, some chives, some oregano, some thyme, and basil are intertwined in here a bit. And I've got some nasturtiums in here as well. And so we have in this bed, there's some herbs in here as well. Now in here I planted a roselle hibiscus, and I do not see it yet. So again, I'm not sure my seeds are working anymore. And there was two things I planted. I see two pink things. What was the other thing? I can't remember right now, but one is roselle and it did not come up. So I planted some more seeds in the greenhouse. Hopefully those come up and I will be able to get some hibiscus, but it's not looking promising. So yeah, anyway, rosemary's in here, 2 different thymes, oregano, what do you have? Some French tarragon, lavender, and what was the other thing? I think it's the Mexican tea. I think is it mezote or something like that? I forget what it's called. And then in this corner over here is comfrey, which I tried to remove from one place and put it over here. And all it did was come over here, but it's also stuck in the original spot because I can't get rid of it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, so that is what's happening in there. And I was hoping that the roselle hibiscus would come up and then I could put it into this barrel here. But like I said, nothing's come up yet. So we'll see what happens. Oh, I didn't do this one. So this is, it's an airplane, sorry, or helicopter. Yeah, helicopter. So we have some asparagus. This is the asparagus bed. It always has been. The lower half of this is always, well, the lower 3/4 of this has always been asparagus. And so again, I didn't do too well with anything last year because I did not garden last year. But you can see the asparagus is still hanging on and it's coming up. And I planted some new asparagus roots in here as well. So hopefully it will take off and I'll get a lot more asparagus again the way we used to. In the top quarter of this bed I do have some I have some peppers and tomatoes. Again, tomatoes were from my seeds and you can see they're very little, just like I said. There's one, there's two, and in the other corner there's the third one. So there's 3 tomato plants in here. They're very tiny. I don't know if they're going to just take off one day and decide they're going to do something good. I hope so. Also basil and nasturtiums. The basil even looks a little pale and just like not doing well. So I'm just not sure what is going on with that. I will do some more fertilizing. I did top all of these beds off with some fresh soil. I did not do much fertilizing of it though, because I was putting fresh soil in it. So I was thinking that that would hold it pretty good. But I think I'm going to just give it some really good fertilizing and hope that that will make it take off. Along with the asparagus that's in here, there are some herbs for companion planting. You can see that in there. Some dill, basil, parsley, basil. I said basil already, I'm sorry. And marigolds and chives. All good things for that. And so that's everything that's growing in the front garden. And everything that's not growing in the front garden. And then there's these two beds and this last green stalk garden that was not planted this year. So anything that's growing in there are just kind of weeds. Well, the bottom two beds are definitely weeds in here. And that's the original comfrey that I mentioned. So I tried to dig that up out of there because I didn't want it here because it gets crazy big. And I tried to put it on the other side over in the corner, and it went over there, but it also came back over here. So I was like, yikes. So I have to do a better job of trying to dig that up, I think, all the way more if I want to get that out of here. But the rest of this is just weeds, and it's mostly in the shade anyway, so I can't plant too much that what I would want in here during the winter. But it is, here. So we'll see. I may move this to the front garden, to the front yard. I don't know. I feel like it's not doing its justice by being here in this spot. Oh, these things flying around here. So we probably will move that. And again, this one I usually would plant. I usually plant cabbage in here, but it's all weeded out right now. So I may clean that out. Hopefully the plan is to clean that out and get that maybe planted with something, but we'll see. But these bees, there's a wasp inside of there, and then there's this little hornet looking whatever thing it is. I'm like, geez, get out of here. All right, I'll take you guys to the back so you can see the rest. So I'll just do what I just was kind of planting some stuff into the border of this. I had these planters, so I just kind of filled them with some good potting soil and put a couple of flowers in there. And then I dug a hole, this hole, like strip right here. I dug up the dirt that was there and filled it with potting soil and planted these thyme and calendula and yarrow in the ground, and then another pot with the same flowers, and I'll put some more stuff in there because it's just like 2 flowers in there right now. And then these bricks have peppermint in them. Oh, that's funny. This one had a little bit on it. I don't know how it became nothing, so I don't know what ate that. That's hilarious. But so there was some stuff growing in. There was some peppermint growing in there. This one's doing fine, but I will let these be over here because I moved a green stalk planter into the space where they used to be. And again, we have jasmine, which has grown up over the fencing over there. You can see all the white flowers. Again, this was from one long, vine that went into the ground in the front garden. And I was like, oh, I don't want this there. I pulled it up. And I was like, hey, it's roots on it. I'm going to stick it back here in this garden. And it took off. So it's doing its thing. And it's made a little cove over there, which is very nice. And the whole area just smells so, so, so good in the spring. So I'm just going to turn around. And so this is a blueberry. I think it was a pink lemonade blueberry bush that we got from Himmel's, local here. But I've not gotten any blueberries on it ever. So I don't know. We've grown blueberries in bags with our other ones, and they did fine. Yes, they did better when we put them in the ground, and that's okay too, but it's weird that this one never grew any single blueberries on it. So I don't know. We'll see. There's still hope. And up here we have the rest of our blueberries. So there's 2 that are in the little raised bed area over there, and they are directly in the raised bed in the ground, no bags anymore. They've been doing great for years. And we have 1 still in a bag, and you can see that one does have blueberries on it, just like the other 2. And it's full of blueberries, and it's doing fine. Now we'll see again, you see the other ones are much bigger because they are not confined to the grow bag, but this is still producing blueberries, and it's sitting in a raised bed within the raised bed in the grow bag. And then we have in here some lemon balm, and that's wild, as you can see. And we have these green stalk gardens towers that are up here on the patio, and they've been there the whole time as usual. And we have mostly strawberries in them. There's a couple of Cherry Falls tomatoes in the one right here on the right, and that is everything that's in those. There was some spinach in the left one, but I did pull that out because it was going to seed, so I will let runners or additional strawberries go into that left one and let that be focused on that. So that's what's going on in there. And then we have this little brick garden that I made some years ago. This yellow pot right here and the green pots in it, that is weeds. And the yellow one over there, that is weeds as well. Everything else was planted with intention, so that's that. They're just there for, pollinators and just to make things pretty. Just for that reason alone. Now this one is not new because I purchased it new. I've had it for years, but I had it in a different location. And it used to be where I planted my onions, like my bulbing big onions. And I moved it because we did not put onions in it this year, because I just showed you where we put the onions this year. So I did not need it there, and it was in the corner. And I figured I could get better use of it on the outside over here. So it is a leaf planter from Greenstalk, and that is the shorter pockets. So I was trying to find some miniature or micro or bush variety of things that I could put in there, or make it also like maybe an overflow planter. So I do have some watermelon in here, and it is I think it's called Mini Love, maybe. What is this? I think it's Mini Love. What is it called? Oh, this one's Cow Sweet Bush, but I do have Mini Love seeds. So I may put some seeds just to see if they start and see how they work out as well. But this is what this is, the cow chill. So that's one there, one there. Now this will get big, so it's beside each other, but I'll let this one kind of vine this way, and I'll let this one vine that way. And I'm not going to plant anything right below it, so it has room to bush out and do what it needs to do. There's one marigold over here, and then on this side is one zucchini plant that I had, and just thought I would just throw it in there and see what happens. Never know. So this doesn't have anything else in it. I do have a couple of more zucchinis and maybe some extra tomato plants. So like I said, I'm having trouble with getting my tomato plants to do much, so I have a couple of plants that I bought, so I may put those in here to let them give us the tomatoes that we need. This one is all strawberries for the most part. Got some flowers in there. There's some chives and onions at the bottom just for companion planting. And those are doing what they do. One other thing I did not mention were these grow bags. So these have potatoes in them. This is all one variety, and it's on the first level right now. So like I said, I fill it about a third way, put the seeds in there, and once they start getting tall enough, I will put the second layer of them Once those are tall enough, I will mulch off at the top and let them just grow as needed. And these are Huckleberry Golds, and these were put in here on May 22nd, and you can see they're coming up over the soil. So that's what all 4 of these bags are. And I do have more potatoes over here. And so this is where the table and chairs used to be. I would sit here. But I need more space for growing in the back garden. The back garden is more of my go-to. I like to hang out back here a little more. It's a sweet space for me. So I do want to make sure I can grow as much as I possibly can, since I'm going to tend to this area much more than I do the front garden, which has things in it that I'm growing, but it's not as, intensive as far as the daily picking things that it would be like I have in the back garden. So potatoes are in here and here and here and there and there. And these ones are the dark red Norland potatoes. I think that's what all of these are. And just so you know, so the huckleberry, yeah, those are they're purple potatoes, but they're gold, like a Yukon gold almost, they're gold potatoes though, but the outside is purple. These ones are the Norland red, dark red Norland. So these are going to be like your red potatoes. And then the front garden that I showed you guys, those were a gold potato as well, but I don't remember the name of it. There were 2 of them, 2 different varieties up there, but they're both also a gold potato. And so these are my sweet potatoes in these grow bags, and I made it like a teepee with bamboo for those, and you can see they're already climbing up on there. So that's nice. This one's reaching, it's trying to get there, but they will be there soon. When I planted these, I did pinch off some of the lower stems so that its focus could be on getting taller, and then also the root system, because sweet potatoes are a root vegetable. So we want the energy to go into those roots and also in these vines going up the trellis that I made here. So like I said, I pulled off some of these stems along the way. You can see that there. And I will continue to do that a little bit, at least until it gets up into the top of the trellis. So that's what all of these are, sweet potatoes. And then there's some chives in here and some marigold as well for companion planting. And so those 2 green stalks over there have kale and some spinach, which have gone to seed. The spinach has, and onions at the bottom and some chives at the top of both of those. And this is my kale and collards in here, and there's like maybe 2 Brussels sprouts in the back right side in there as well, and they're covered up because that white cabbage moth will come over here and try to lay her little eggs, and I was just like, nope, I don't want you here. So that's why I have all of these on here. These little cans here are from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, and these hampers, pop-up hampers, are from Walmart, I believe. 2 more bags of potatoes. These were the first ones I started, and these ones actually only have 1 layer, and that's okay, but you can see they're doing well. They're growing up tall and doing their thing. These veg trugs were my original gardens before I had all of this, and they are pretty much trash. They're falling apart, wood's coming apart on them, especially 1, 2, 3. The first 3 I will try to get rid of and trash that and open the space up. The last 2 over there at the very end, they are also breaking apart, but there's oregano in there and probably something else, but definitely oregano that has come back and is right there and is growing. I have elderberry, these 2 right here. That is raspberry, and then that is blackberry. So that's what's there, and they've been around for some years and they're doing what they do. How are you? So this bed here has my tomatoes. This is usually where I have all of my cherry tomatoes in this bed. This year I did some cherry tomatoes and some slicer tomatoes. And again, very tiny little plants here. You can see this one. You can see that one's mortgage lifter. That actually was not a seed that I grew. That one is one that I bought, but it's still so tiny. So again, I must be a soil thing I got going on. I'm not sure. But I did top off all of my beds with fresh soil. So I'm not sure, but now I will say tomatoes are planted very deep. So what was topped off is not what the tomatoes are in right now. But I did, when I dug my hole for each of my tomatoes, of course, I put some worm castings and some soil conditioner in there, some soil conditioner compost from Leaf Grow, and not sure why they're looking like they're looking. I really don't. In addition to that, I have parsley. I have some peppers in here. Again, I purchased those pepper plants. I have some herbs in here. Now my herbs are all of my herbs, I believe, for the most part, that I've grown and split up and done those. And you see basil. I do have carrots in here as well in the front. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares with carrots and a flat leaf parsley and a curly leaf parsley, thyme in the middle, 2 pepper plants here, and 4 pepper plants here. I'm sorry, 3. There's actually 3 pepper plants over there. 3 over there and 4 over here, as well as chives and calendula and basil and marigolds, of course. And see, again, this is the Super Sweet 100. You can see that it's just like very pale. This was the second one that I had in the greenhouse, so I just put it out here just again to see which one would do better. I'm not sure if it was just because, again, is it the soil? Is it because, earlier in the season, I covered them, but we had a cool night. I covered them. Was it not covered enough? Is it a cold thing? I have no idea. But this is what's going on. But I'm determined to have my food. So I bought plants. So I'm fine with that. And our regular, always green stalk. Green beans are growing in here. They're doing well. You can see we got baby green beans coming on here. So I am happy about that because I love when it's time to pick all the green beans. We have lots of green beans planted this year. Like I said, and black beans, trying to decrease some things we need from the store. And green beans and black beans are definitely things that we use. So definitely need that. This bed is also tomatoes and peppers and eggplant. And of course, all of the companions that go along with those things. This beautiful tomato you see here was purchased. So that is why that one is nice and big and giving us some tomatoes. But you can see all my little baby plants are they're in here. They're in there. And my peppers, same thing. All my pepper plants, and those were from seed. Those ones there. And these ones, again, I'm seeing yellowing leaves. So I'm definitely having a deficiency in something. There's 2 eggplants on the end, one here and one there. And both of those were purchased plants. This is the cucumber bed. It's always been the cucumber bed. This year I did a lot of additional planting with that for some companions. Now I've always had dill in this bed with it, so that's there again, of course. But I did add some tomatoes back here, and those are looking not too bad. And there's also carrots in here, and there's some green beans in there, and nasturtium, as you can see, and thyme. And they're all doing well. Now I can see definitely there's something, probably a slug or something that's eating things, because this dill looks like it's been eaten up. So I gotta come through here and see what's going on here. I did make some beer traps. I'll show you those in a moment to try to catch the slugs. But I'm not sure what else is trying to eat that. But something is definitely eating that up. My goodness. And so this is one cucumber plant that's in here. I'm waiting for it to get tall enough to get on the trellis. It's almost there. But I'll just let that lay here for now until it's long enough. I just planted this Bush Champion cucumber here. I bought that to grow this way, and then the other one will grow up the trellis that way. So we'll have both of those growing in here, 2 different varieties. And then I put a zucchini all the way over here as well. And again, that was me trying to just put it somewhere because I had it, and I'm trying to get zucchini this year because I always get squash bugs, and I always get the borer into the squash plant, and then I end up with no zucchini. Craziest thing. So this is the herb bed. Now this is a U-shaped, kind of a U-shaped bed here. And there's herbs in here. So there's sage, different varieties of sage. I have purple, and then I have the, what's that, this begins with the B. Bergen something. It's a traditional sage you've all, I'm sure, heard of before. That's in the middle. And then the variegated one. Then there is oreganos. I have there. Now this one came back from previous years. It's been here forever. And this was a new one that I planted because this bed, again, like many things, I had to just kind of like do an overhaul with, and that was okay. Now most of these were purchased plants, except for the ones that came back. And so there's oreganos, like I said, and French tarragon and thymes. There's a dill over there. I'm sorry, not a dill, a chives over there. And then on this back side over here, I have some purple cabbage growing under those. And you can see them. Now this is from a squirrel planting things in my garden, and I don't want it there. What is the chicken doing? What is the chicken doing? Look at her. So yeah. But there's also, what is that? I think that's a that might be a cabbage as well. But these trees that these squirrels are trying to grow, like, get out of here. We're not growing trees in the raised bed, sir. No, we're not doing that. And so over here we have some Brussels sprouts and lavender and lettuce and collards. And these are all doing well. More lettuce over here, along with onions and squirrel plants. We don't want you. We don't want you. But all this looks like it's doing pretty well. There's an extra pot there with some lemongrass and a rosemary. I need to put some mulch in that as well. So here's one of the spots where I have a beer trap. And I just take, like, you know, this is a Parmesan cheese container, cut a hole in it, put some beer in it. These chickens are crazy. And stuff goes in there and dies. Definitely slugs, but I see there's like some flies, I think, in there, maybe an ant. So all those things, I am okay with them going in there to die. So that works for me. But I have those several places throughout the garden to try to save our plants. Look at Rain. Hi, Rain. Rain. She's such a sweetheart. Hi, Rain. Oh, there is chamomile here. Yeah, chamomile here in this corner here. And so that should be nice to have once it's moving up. But yeah, these little baby tomato plants, like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what y'all are doing. I just don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Calendula in here. Now these are from seed. I direct sowed some seeds in here. So that's nice to see that they're popping up. Nice to see that. So there's another beer trap hiding under there. That one's in a sour cream bowl. There's another one on this side. I can see something floating around in there. So stuff definitely goes in there and traps them and keeps them out of the garden. I need to hook this water hose up to somewhere so that I don't have to do this with the hose. But I haven't done that yet, but I'm getting there. That big bush there by the sink is so funny. So this was in a pot. Well, it's still in a pot. There's the pot. Lemon balm. Well, lemon balm spreads via seed, not via roots like peppermint. So this is peppermint in a container. There's also lemon balm beside it in a container. Well, it's seeded, and then now there's some all over here. And I'm okay with that because, again, that helps with deterring things like, you know, ticks and ants and things that I don't like, flies. So I'm okay with that doing what it does. No problem with that. And I also have rosemary in this pot here. Again, close to the house, nice to help with things, keeping the bugs away. And these are some tomato plants. These are 3 tomato plants that I picked up on the side of the road at a flower stand that I've gone to pretty much all my life. But this is Early Girl, Sweet 100, and I think it's a Celebrity. Yeah, Celebrity Plus. Now those are Early Girl and Celebrity Plus are determinate tomatoes, and Sweet 100 is a indeterminate. And again, I had this on the end over there, and so I still have that. So this 100 is probably going to replace those because I just don't see them doing much. These determinate two, I might put in this green stalk and just put a stake in there to allow those to grow in that, since I don't really have much space really in the rest of the raised beds, unless I take out some of the smaller ones that are not doing much. But if there's a chance that they will, I don't want to just pull them out. So I may just put these 3, or at least these 2, the determinate ones, into this tower here, since I have so much space. Like 1 on this side, maybe 2 on this side actually, because I don't have anything growing on this side of it. So that would be nice if those other ones did end up taking off at a later point. But if not, I have some backups that I will use these other plants for. And there is a potted Early Girl that I got from Bonnie here. It did have the little trellis that it comes on it with. But I took it off and just sat this pot right in this soil so that it could, if it needed to root more, it could do that. But if it needed to get onto to the trellis, I could just put it up and let it climb up on here. So that is why this one is here, to be able to do that. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's nice. It has some tomatoes on it already, and they're turning pink. So I will be getting some tomatoes soon. I just wish they were coming from my own seeds, and I just don't know why they're not. But even so, not just my own seeds. Again, this was purchased. It was healthy and fine, and this is what it looks like, the mortgage lifter. So I'm thinking that the soil was just needed to really be amended, and maybe it wasn't amended enough. So I did come through here. Today is, what is today? Today's Tuesday. This last week, one day, I did some liquid fertilizer. So I'm going to do that a little bit more often and try to really get these beds and everything going much better. So that black tub there is full of dirt, and that is dirt that I dug up from around here. So it does have chicken waste in it, so it's kind of hot manure, and I don't want to like use it right away, but I am going to use it to just have some compost started to go along with when we do need to amend the soil and things of that nature, so I don't have to always buy stuff. So we don't have any rabbits right now, which is something I used to always use, their rabbit manure, which is a cool manure, but I will be able to use that as we just put some, like I said, just the dirt soil that was just around here when I was fixing these pavers, digging those spaces up. I put that in there, so we'll be able to, use that as we go along. So I guess that's it for now. Thank you guys for checking this out, and I will see you guys soon.